Hey guys, in this video I will teach you the basics of React Native while building a very simple to-do application. As you can see here, we are listing out tasks. We can add new tasks if we want to do that, and we can mark them as done by clicking them, and if we want to, we can delete them as well. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is to set up the development environment. I'm going to use something called Expo. And Expo is a collection of tools and services that is built around React Native. It makes it very easy to build apps, to test apps on your phone, and similar. So I just gone to reactnative.dev, going into the docs and into the environment setup. I'm going to use npm to install this, and you can use yarn if you want to do that. And actually the only thing you have to do now is to run npx, create expo app, and then the name of the project. So let me copy this, go to the terminal, and then I'm inside a folder called React Native, which is the root folder for all of my projects. And then I just say npx create expo app, and then the name, which can be to do. Okay, so now this will load some project files. It will install everything you need and then create an empty app. And while this is running, I can just go back here and see what we need to do when it's finished. So we just need to go into the project and then run npx expo start. So then that will start a development server for us. So if you want to run this on your phone, your iOS or Android phone, you just need to install an app called Expo Go, and you can find it in there. In this tutorial, I'm just going to use the simulator, but the procedure is the same. Okay, it looks like I have an old version of something here, probably my node, but hopefully it will work anyways. Okay, so now your project is ready. So what you need to do then is to go into the project, cd to do, and then I can run it for one of these three. I can actually run it on the web as well, but I want to run it on an iOS simulator. And to do that, I just say npm run iOS. And this will start compiling the code, and I think this will also automatically run an simulator for me, opening this address on iPhone SE 3rd generation. Nothing is happening here. Downloading the Expo Go app, so I need to download and install this on the simulator. So let's just wait a little bit. If you have connected your phone, I think it will automatically open there as well when you run one of these commands. So yes, okay, allow this, and now it's opening here in my simulator. So as you can see, this might take a moment. It's just for initialization and similar. Okay, so now something is happening here. Okay, so I just went back here, clicked I for opening in the iOS simulator, came back here, and it was running. So I have a little developer menu here that gives me some information on how I can open this, how I can reload, and similar. Okay, continue. So then you can see here I can show a performance monitor and similar. So let me just click R to reload. Okay, so let's show the menu here. How do I get that to appear? Okay, so now I just go back here, clicked M to toggle the menu, and then this came up again, and then I can hide the performance monitor. So now I have this running here. Open up app.js to start working on the app. So I'm going to open this project in Visual Studio Code now. So I just find the folder to do, opening it up, and then I locate the app.js. And as you can see here, open up app.js is what we have here. Nice. Okay, so now that we know where the code is located, we can start working a little bit on this. So I can just remove this status bar for now, like that, and then we can start working more on this to-do app. So what I want to do here is to have a simple form at the bottom which can create new tasks, and then I want to list out the tasks here, and I want to make it possible to click a task to set it as done, and I want to make it possible to delete tasks as well. So if you're not familiar with React or React Native at all, you can see here that this is very similar to CSS, and this is typically just HTML elements, but you have different words. So for a normal web application, you would just have the div, but here we use view, and for example this could just be a P or a paragraph in HTML. You can also style them using styles here, or you can use inline styles like this, style, color, red. So if I save now and go back, you can see that the text is red. Nice. Okay, so let's create a box for listing out the tasks. So I just want to remove this, and instead of using, and then in here I create a new view, and I'm going to use one view per task. So then here I can say text task number 1. So for now I'm just going to hard code this, so I don't have it there, but I want the text to be on the left side, and I want them to start listing out up here. So I just want to remove this boilerplate here, save, and then it's all the way up there. The problem now is that it's behind this status bar here, and React Native has something called safe area view that can be used instead of this view. So what this does is that when I save now, you notice that React Native automatically adds some space above here, so that we don't have to think about this, or if you have a phone with the island and similar, so then React Native will just put it at the bottom there. So we don't have to think about rounded corners and similar. But we need some space on this, so you can have some padding horizontal 20, then we get space on padding horizontal. Why didn't that go? Maybe I actually can't add this to that container, so let's add it here instead. So styles.wrapper, and then in here I can say wrapper to point to this one. Now we can add the padding to that. So that worked, yes. So not all of these elements that comes from React Native can have all types of styling. Apparently this can't have padding, probably because we don't want to override the important styling that React Native does to this automatically. And we want a space above this, so padding vertical 20. As you can see here, I can add all of these padding, and I can add padding on the left side, on the right side, on the top, and similar. And I can also just say padding 40 if I wanted to do that, but right now I just want to have padding on the sides and above and below. Okay, so let's add some more styles. I can add a new view for this task, so that this is more like the list of views. And then this can have style, styles.task, task, and I think also this should have some padding, so padding 5. And we can set the background color for this as well, so that can be lightish gray, so F3, F3, F3. Nice. And maybe we want some rounded corners, so we can just say border radius 10. Nice. Maybe we want some more spacing in there, so we set it to 10. Okay, and then at the left side here I want an X, sorry, on the right side I want an X for deleting a task. So we can add a button. That's not the way to do it, sorry. Button. And I think I need to add a label X. And then this needs to be closed. And this will probably crash now because button doesn't exist. So we need to import this as well from React Native. And title prop. Okay, so it was not label, it was title. Oh, nice. The problem with that one is that it fills out the whole width and similar. So instead of using a button, we can use something called a touchable opacity. So touchable opacity. That looks a little bit better. So close it, and then in here we can say text X. Okay, so now this only fills. So this, you can see here, when I click it, it blinks because it's touchable. So every time we touch it, it's interacted. And we can have an on press here, for example, on press. Now just create a function, console.log, pressed a delete button. Okay, so if I now save this now and go back to the terminal, then I have some warnings here, but these are from the when they actually crashed. You can see here the title prop must be a string, but we don't have the button yet, so it's old. But if I now go back here and click this one, you can see down here, pressed a delete button. Nice. Okay, so you have different types of buttons that can be used in React Native. You have the button, you have the touchable opacity, and also pressable. And these two are very similar. This is a very typical button. With these two you can have, for example, on long press, I think, on long press, yes, so it will only activate when you have pressed the button for X amount of milliseconds and similar. But for now we will just use the on press. So when you click down, we will toggle a function here later. But now we need to use some styling to move this X all the way above or all the way there. So what I want to do then on this task here is to set this to be a flex box. So display flex. Need to have the tuples around there. That didn't do anything because we need to set the flex direction to a row. This is default a column. So now we have there and X there. Then we can set the justify content to be space between, and then all the available space between there will be added between the two elements. So this touchable and this text. And in case we have two lines here, I want this button to be on the same line as the middle one. So to do that we just say align items center. So you can't notice it there, but if I copy this task, then I can show you. Task number 2. Let me add some more text in here. So now you can see here that this has two lines, but the X is still in the middle of this one, just as it's here in the middle of the first one. Nice. You should also have some space between these tasks. So on this task wrapper here, we can say margin bottom 5. Nice. Before I continue, I just want to say thanks to all of my patrons. If you too want to support me, you will find a link in the description below. Okay, so now we have a list of tasks, but we are now hard coding them. Maybe we should convert this to a list. So up here I can say const tasks equals, and then just create an array. And then in here create the object, ID like that, 1, title the first task, and then ID create another dictionary, ID 2, title the second task. And then we can loop through these tasks and show them down here. So just remove one of these, and then I want to wrap this here inside something called a map. So let's add a curly bracket and say tasks.map. So this is just a typical JavaScript function. And then for each of the tasks I want to have an instance called task. Then we create this as a fat arrow function and close it like that. Then we can just move this in, indent it, and paste this like that. So now for each of the tasks in this list here, we will show not the task there. Maybe I need to say return like this. And save. Yes, so that's what the problem was. I forgot to return data in here. As you can see here now, I get a new warning. Each child in a list should have a unique key prop. Okay, so for React to know the difference between these when we are listing them out using something like this is that you can't separate this from the other one. So we need to add a key to this one. And the key can be this ID, for example. So in the view here we just say key, and then we pass in task.id. So we refer to this variable here, and we get the ID from there. So if I save now, it refreshes and the warning is gone. Nice. Now we can replace this hard-coded text with task.title. So we get the title from there. Nice. First task, second task. Okay, so now we know how to loop through an array that we have up here. So now I think it's time to add a little form down here that we can submit tasks up to this list. So below this one, which is the wrapper for the tasks, yes, we can have it below here. You can actually use the same like that, so to get some spacing there. And then in here I can say text input, and then I will probably get a warning because I haven't imported this. Okay, it looks like the editor did this automatically for me. Then just close it. You can see if I get this printed on the screen. Yes, you can see it blinking there, but it's impossible to see it. So let's add some style to this. Style. And then we can say styles.input. And then at the bottom, input. Background color could be 333. And we can set color to be a white. So now at least we can see the form, and if I type something in there we can see the white text. Let's add the same border radius to this one, so it looks a little bit more like that. And we can add some spacing to it as well. Padding 10. Nice. So now it looks more like a place where we can fill out information. And then I want the button below here where you can submit this form up to there. So I'm going to use a touchable opacity for this as well. So touchable opacity, and then text submit. Save. Okay, it doesn't look like a button, so we need to add some styling to this touchable opacity. Styles, styles.button, and the same thing with this text can also get its own class. So styles equals styles.button text. Then just fix the indentation so it looks better. Then we need to create button and button text, button, Now we can add some spacing to this. So padding 10. Background color can be, for example, a dark blue color. 55000. And then button text can be color white. Okay, that did not work. Styles dot, but sorry, this was supposed to be style in singular, and I made it red instead of blue. It's a rookie mistake, so it's red, green, blue. 66. Okay, so now it's blue. Nice. But I want rounded corners and a little bit of space up to the form. So border radius can be set to 10, just like the other ones, and margin top 5. Nice. Maybe there's also center the text here, so I think you can set text align center. So as you can see, very much of these are very similar to default CSS. So styling these types of apps is actually very simple. So now I want to create a function which we can call when this is called. So below where we assign this, we can say const and then the name submit form equals, and then we create a fat arrow function like this, console.log submit form. And to call this, when we click this touchable opacity down here, we can say on press and submit form like that. So if I open up the console, go back here now, click submit, I can see that we are calling this function submit. Nice. So next step then is to get the information that we put in here and print it out in this form. And to do that, we need to introduce something called state handling. And state handling in React Native is actually very simple, especially for simple apps like this. So we need to import use state from React. So import, use the curly braces, use state from React. And then we can define the name for this input field here, which can be just title, for example, so const, and then create an array here, title and set title, because in the when we come to state handling, we can't just set the title directly, we need to have a function for setting this, and that is because you can't override this, because then React Native might not know what you are doing and similar. And then we use the state, so use state, and then we can set the default value, for example, hello, and just close that. And then you can see here these are two are disabled because they are not used anywhere. But if I go down here, I can say value, and then I just title. So then this got more blue because now it's in use. If I go back here now, you can see that the default value is hello. If I try to write anything here now, nothing happens. And that is because React, every time something happens now, is trying to re-render and set the value of this field to hello. But if I want to use the set title now, every time that we type something in here, so I can say on text, or sorry, on change text, set text, so set title. And what this does now is that it automatically sort of runs a function that looks like this, set title and then title. So it just spits out information from this field into this function and sets that value. So if I save now, try one more time, you can see that I now can write here, and every time I do this, the state is updated. And if I now go up to the submit form. Then I can say console.log title title. So then I can just refer to this one, which will automatically get what we have in the state. So if I now open up the terminal, hello, and a little bit more information, submit, I can see submit form, and then this here is what we have in the form. Nice. So then I want to insert what we have here into this list here. So to do that I need to create one more object. So obj, just short for object, id can be tasks.length +1, so it automatically now will be 3 and the next will be 4, etc. And then at the end there I say title and title. So now you have a new object, and if I say console.log, just for debugging, object looks like that. So let's try it one more time, submit, and then have the object 3 title, and then it's inserted there. Now we just need to append this to this tasks list. So then I can say tasks.push and obj. So what do you think will happen now? Do you think that if I click this now it will appear here? No. And that is because this tasks here is sort of static. So we need to convert this to a state as well. So it's not very hard to do. So I can just add the bracket first there, and then set tasks, and then use state, and then in here I set these two tasks to be default. This will still not work, but we can try. So if I click submit now, nothing will happen because we can't alter this. We need to use the set tasks. So how can we use that? If I now use set tasks, pass in obj, what will then happen is that, okay, there, undefined is not a function. So we have a little problem now, because then tasks will only be this one, so it will not be a list anymore, so we can't use the map function on it. So I need to append this here at the end of this one. So to do that I set an array. So to do that I just say set tasks tasks. So then it takes this object here, and then at the end obj. So I think that is the correct syntax. So what happens now is that JavaScript takes all of these tasks, this list or array here, and append this at the end. Let's try it. Submit. Nope. That did not work. Maybe maybe I need to set this as an object like that. I always forget this syntax here. Submit. Nope. Is it because it's not a list? Maybe it's supposed to be like this. Submit. Yes. So now you can see that it is working. Nice. Okay, so then I can just remove this here. I can remove this so it's a little bit cleaner. And if I wanted to, instead of assigning a new variable up there, I can just take this, paste it like that, and have this on a separate line so it's as clean as possible. So still this is working. Nice. Okay, and when we submit this form, I want to empty this text area, text input here. So when this is done, we can just say set title to be empty. So if I now try this one, submit, then this was emptied. Try one more time, and it's emptied. Perfect. I can also see one more problem now, and that is if I add enough tasks here now, you can see that this form will disappear below the screen. So what I want to do now is to change this to be a scroll view and then have this here located at the bottom of the screen at all times. So we can import a new object here called scroll view, and then inside, actually I think I can edit, change this one, and then you can see here now automatically I get scrolling in the tasks, but the form is now automatically at the bottom there. Nice. So maybe we should handle deleting tasks now, and to do that we can do something with this touchable here. Press a delete button. So instead of using a console log here, we can say delete task, and then we pass in task.id. This doesn't exist yet, so let's create it. You can have it at the bottom below this submit form. So const delete task, and then console.log delete task, and which ID we want to delete, and what we put in there you can add there, so we get it as a parameter for this function. So we can open up here just to see if it is working. Yes, you can see delete task. Perfect. Nice. Okay, so then we can handle how to delete this. So to do that we need to create a new array. So const tmp tasks equals tasks dot filter, create an instance of a task equals or equals, you create a fat arrow here again where the task.id not equals id. So what this does is that it creates a new array based on this array, and for each of the tasks in there you only take the ones where the id isn't the id that we get in there. And then we can say set tasks and then tmp tasks. So now we just assign this to a new array. So I think I can start deleting tasks here now. Yes, it works. Perfect. And I think I can add new tasks if I wanted to do that. Nice. Okay, so what if I want to mark tasks as done? Then I think the first thing we need to add here is, for example, a new variable is done. Set this to false and is done true. So this has default value of true, this has default value of false. And then we can add a strike through on the tasks that is marked as done. Then here I can say style, then we hard code it instead of using one of the classes from down here. Strike, how can you do that? I need to go to Google and search React Native strike through. How can I add this one? Text decoration line through. Okay, let's copy this one, paste it, go back and see what this looks like. Yes, so you can see both of these have this style, but we only want to apply it if the task is set to is done is true. So here we can say is done question mark, and if this is task.is done, then we want to use this. If not, we can just set this to be empty. So now you can failed property type. Okay, so I get a warning now because we can't we set this default to none if there isn't anyone. So now the warning is gone, and this still has a strike through because it's default set to done. Nice. Okay, and when we click the title here, we want to set it to either done or to do if it's already done and you want to redo it, or whatever it is in English. So around this text here we can say touchable opacity, like that, and then when we press this on press, then we want to call a function that can say toggle is done, and we pass in task.id so we know which task we want to change. So let's create this method here, const toggle is done id console.log toggle is done, and then the ID that we want to change. So let's see if it is working. Click this, toggle is done, yes, nice. And if I add one more and I click this, it says toggle is done on number 3. Okay, so how can we now change the task inside this list? So we need to do something similar to this, or something similar to the map that we did down here. So I think the map is the best thing to do. I think I can say const tmp tasks equals tasks.map, and for each of the tasks create a new task, create a fat arrow function, and then I can say task.isDone equals not task.isDone. So what this here is that if this is set to true, it will revert to false, and if it is false, it will be set to true. So this is kind of like you get the opposite of the Boolean value. And then I can say return task, so we return it into this again, and then I can just say set tasks tmp tasks and save. So if I now click this one, it was set to done, but as you can see here now, it does this with all of the tasks. So now this was set to true, false, and now it was the other way. So we only need to do it on the ID that we change. So here we can say if task.id equals ID, only then will we do the change, but we will still return this. So if I now click this one, it's only this one I changed. Nice. Okay, so then we know how to create tasks. We can delete tasks, and we can set them to set them to done and not. So that was a very basic introduction to React Native. If you like this tutorial, please hit like below, and if you want more content like this, please subscribe. If you have any ideas for other apps that I can build, or is there any parts of this tutorial that was unclear and that you want to learn more about, feel free to leave a comment below. I will answer you as soon as I can. I will try to make a new tutorial. See you in the next video.